Nobody likes to be bitten by a mosquito, and they are just abundant in the summertime. Here's the thing though, mosquitoes can carry disease. They can give your dog heartworm. They can cause it's even now in my circles thought that they are carrying Lyme disease, which nobody wants. Not to mention just the irritating itching and allergic reactions that can happen. But here's the problem. Insecticides are another one of those topics where is the cure worse than the problem? See, in the US versus Europe, what they allow in our countries for pesticides are banned in many, many other countries. I've got a list I'm going to read out to you. And where might you get exposed to these? You would get exposed in your lawn treatments. Hello. You get exposed if the community you live in has a big enough mosquito problem that trucks come through while you're sleeping at night and fog the area. Lots of times parks and recreational areas are fogged, to keep the mosquito population down. And heck, people have those mister deals, that mist out pesticides in their own yard to keep mosquitoes under control. I'm going to give you some natural ways to do it, but first, let's talk about what does our country allow in our pesticides that other countries ban. If you didn't know better, you might think they didn't care about our health. Okay, so I'm going to list them out. One is called phorate, Phorate. Now this is used on your food, so it's not something you would have sprayed in your yard, but it's used abundantly on your food. It's been banned in Brazil, China, the EU, India, Switzerland, the UK, and Turkey, among others. So symptoms of exposure: dizziness, blurred vision, diarrhea, low blood pressure, seizures, abdominal pain. Now, unless you get a big exposure, you're not going to have seizures, obviously, but you have to know that these tiny exposures also affect your body and they mount up. So the list I just read you, those are mostly neurological symptoms. So neurological means your brain, okay, hello dementia, hello ADD, brain fog, all these kinds of things, and your nerves, hello Parkinson's, MS, hello ADD, ADHD. So these are not things you want to allow little exposures that build up in your body. Okay, that's number one. Number two, paraquat. So paraquat is used in your weed and your grass control. So these are things that could be in your lawn treatments. So paraquat, even in our country, is restricted, but only restricted in that you have to be a licensed applicator to apply it. So it is possible that you could be exposed. According to my research resource, 11 million pounds of paraquat are used every year in the US. That's a lot. So here's what it causes. Problems with the lining of your gastrointestinal tract, so your mouth, your esophagus, your stomach. So it's going to, mess with your GI tract. It can cause lung, liver, and kidney problems, and can even lead to heart failure, kidney failure, liver failure, seizures, coma, lung scarring, even Parkinson's. It's actually been directly linked with Parkinson's. So I always advise people when they are contracting with companies to use any chemicals around their home, ask for something called a Material Safety Data Sheet, MSDS. And that sheet lists all the toxic ingredients that are in whatever it is you're using. You can certainly go online and search each ingredient for yourself and then decide, ooh, is this something I want my family exposed to? Do I want my kids playing on this lawn, or my pets, or myself? So anyway, next is atrazine. Atrazine is a horrible one, and this is used to the tune of 73 million pounds a year in the US. This is for control of grasses, broadleaf weeds, and it's used a lot in our food. So corn, sugar cane, sorghum, wheat, your lawn at your home. And these, atrazine is one that became kind of well known from golf course runoff. So golf course would run off into, lakes and ponds around the golf course, and people started noticing, hey, wait a minute, these little salamanders and frogs and little creatures that live in this pond, they're changing gender. They're losing their characteristics of one gender and morphing toward a different one, and they end up as kind of a mutant, not really fully, able to reproduce in one or the other. So there, you probably have heard about this in the news, but this is still being used across the U.S., although it is banned in the EU, in the UK, and Turkey. So again, ask, find out what's being used in your own, environment. Okay, the next one on the list of horrible pesticide chemicals allowed in the U.S. is, I may mispronounce this, Terbufos, Terbufos. And this is a organophosphate class of pesticide. It's used a lot in crops. It can be used on your lawn as well. So the U.S. uses approximately 383,000 pounds of this chemical every year. I hope you've listened to all these numbers, because when you think, it's a staggering amount, the millions and millions of pounds of these chemicals used all around us all the time, and we wonder why we're having some of these problems. It can come into your body through skin contact, inhalation, if you eat it on, some produce that you bought at the store, and it drives cancer. So this is not one that you want to be exposed to at all. Terbufos. Ask for that material safety data sheet. This chemical is banned in so many countries, the EU, the UK, Canada, and even China has banned this chemical, and they're not really known, they're similar to us, they're not really known for protecting the people that much from toxins in the environment. Okay, the next pesticide is aldicarb, and this is used on crops, okay, especially citrus, cotton, beans, potatoes, extremely hazardous classification, and yet we still use 75,000 pounds of this every year in the U.S. Now, when you think of 75,000 pounds and you think the teeniest amount of this chemical causes an effect to kill things, it's incredible what we use in this country. And so many places have banned this chemical. Let's see, China, Brazil, the UK, Mexico, Japan, the EU, and certain countries will not even allow you to import it across their border. So again, we're not really being protected very much. Next chemical pesticide, and of course these names are horrible, chlorothoxyphos. This is a pesticide, another one in the organophosphate class, and this is used on crops and mainly corn and popcorn. So you guys, I talk so much about buying organic. Think about it. If your family loves to pop popcorn, on an evening, every Friday and watch a good movie, that kind of thing, if you're not getting organic, you're being exposed to these things. So super important. So what does this do to your health? Plenty is the answer to that question. It can cause gastrointestinal problems, so chronic, stomach aches, indigestion, those kinds of things. But the most important thing is the neurological or, affecting the nervous system issues. And this chemical in particular has been shown to have neurodevelopmental issues. Now, what does that mean? It means you're developing child. So if your kid likes to eat Doritos or other corn chips, if your child, like I mentioned, popcorn, it's a very popular, family treat. Lots of kids, one of the few vegetables they'll actually eat is corn. So, you serve it thinking, well, I'm getting at least some kind of vegetable into them. This is so vital to get organic because you look at the incidences of autism, you look at ADD, ADHD, kids with just learning problems, behavior issues. And then because of the neurodevelopmental aspect of this, again, think about pregnant people. If you want to become pregnant in the next year, or if you are pregnant, just be sure that any corn that passes your lips is organic. Y'all, I know, so corn is very heavily treated. It's genetically modified for almost 100% in the US. I love going to a Mexican restaurant as much as the next person, and enjoying the guacamole and whatever. I will actually bring my own organic corn chips, hide them in my purse, and just bring them out and use them and enjoy, because you don't want to take any chances at all with ingesting these pesticides. Pretty crazy what they allow in our country, right? All right, the next one on the hit list, and there are so many of these. This is called ethoprophos, ETHOPROPHOS. All right, so this is for soil-dwelling insects. So crops like sugarcane, bananas, potatoes, nuts, fruits, and then also ornamental plants, like you see behind me here. The health risks for this would be neurological. Again, a lot of these pesticides are neurological toxins. That's how a lot of them kill the bug, is destroying their nervous system. So this can cause, twitching, restless leg syndrome, think, eye twitches, think any kind of involuntary twitching of your muscles. It can cause headache. It can cause blurred vision, and extreme exposure is actually fatal. So if you were working in the industry, you would have to be very careful. This is banned in China, banned in the UK, banned in the EU. And here in the US, we use 138,000 pounds of this chemical every year. All right, we're getting down the list here. Methomyl is the next on the hit list. This is very toxic to humans, to animals, and to the environment. It's used to control spiders and nematodes, and these are used in the production of vegetables, apples, oranges, cotton, tobacco, turf, your lawn, and ornamental plants. And hold on to your hat, 636,000 pounds of this insecticide is used every year in the US. You can ingest it on food that you're eating. You can inhale it if you're driving by someplace that's being treated, or if you touch things that have been treated, you can get it through skin contact. The health concerns would be gastrointestinal, cardiovascular, and neurological. Again, many of these have the same types of symptoms. We have not prohibited its use, despite how toxic it is, but China, UK, Turkey, and the EU have all banned it. So think about this, guys. I'm reading through this list. There's so many chemicals that we allow here that other countries have banned because of how horrible they are, and they cause people to get sick and die. And yet we allow it. So I know it's expensive to buy organic food. I would encourage you to, have a backyard garden, look for your local farmers and markets that raise things organically. Do the best you can to try to get organic. Okay, we've got 2 more pesticides to talk with. Propanil is the next one. This is used to control grasses and weeds in crops. Potatoes, rice, and wheat are the main crops. This is an herbicide. It's not a pesticide, it's an herbicide for weeds. And it is banned in the UK, the EU, and other countries. Now check this out. We use 5 million pounds of this every year in the US. And it's, again, GI trouble, neurological trouble, and even short-term exposure can affect the blood and the nervous system. So even a short-term exposure, and yet 5 million pounds. Okay, last one. I know this is a bummer of a video, but it is important to know these things. So acephate is an organophosphate pesticide, and it's used to control aphids, spider mites, leaf miners, caterpillars, ants, and sawflies. So you could get exposed to this in multiple ways through pest control at your house or crops that this is used on. And this is used widely in the US with 4 million pounds applied annually. And skin contact inhalation or ingestion is hazardous to your health. It's harmful to humans, it's harmful to your pets, it's harmful to birds. The runoff is harmful to, creatures in our lakes and rivers. And again, even China has banned the use of this one, as well as the UK and the EU. And they've banned it for a long, long time. So you guys, do your research. Many people depend on our 3-letter agencies to protect us. And unfortunately, this is just not true. So the FDA, the EPA, all of them, CDC, we've put our trust in these agencies, but their main concern is not our health. Their main concern is the bottom line of giant corporations, be it big, food production or the chemical industry that has kind of taken over much of the farming in our country.